I hate myself for this, but I'm doing it. And there's a couple of reasons why I'm doing it. Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. Okay. So, as you know, Jake Paul will take on Ben Askren at some point in April, which is the month we're currently in, and I actually genuinely don't know the date, which is how much attention I've paid to this fight. I think it might be the 17th, but that's not 100% sure, and I'm sure you'll tell me. In any event, this is raised a lot of talking points, and I understand all of them. They all make sense. Can Jake Paul beat Ben Askren? Well, Ben Askren, he's an MMA guy, but he's predominantly a wrestler. He's not a very good striker. If you watch his fights, Masvidal knocked him out with a knee and blah, 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 blah. What we're comparing here is a guy who makes videos for a living, amongst other things, versus a guy who trained every day of his adult life, various different disciplines. So he is in shape. More so, he knows how to get in shape. He has fought over 25 times in MMA. He has had countless wrestling matches. He has punched, and I say punched and not boxed. He will have boxed. But Ben Askren has everything that he needs to beat Jake Paul at boxing. But make no mistake, this won't be a boxing match. And none of Jake Paul's boxing matches that have come before this have been boxing matches. I just went back and watched them. They were not boxing matches. They were punching fights with a lot of hugging. And when I say a lot of hugging, I mean a lot of hugging. The referee, on one of his fights against some basketball player or NFL player, who's Nate Robinson? I don't know, and people are probably screaming at me at the moment. I don't know who that is. I think he's a basketball player, but he looked quite short, so I don't know. But all that fight was 2 or 3 punches, and then they hugged each other. Well, you can't hug Ben Askren because he knows exactly how to manipulate your body. He knows how to control your neck, move your spine. That's all he trains at doing. So there'll be no dirty boxing from Jake Paul. So he's relying purely on the striking aspect. And his striking isn't very good. Is it good enough to beat up 2 YouTubers and a basketball player? Yes, of course it is. Of course it is. What are we talking about? Is it good enough to beat the competitor Ben Askren, who has been hit by much tougher men with much smaller gloves on? No. It's not. Jake Paul will not beat Ben Askren. He won't do it. He's not a boxer. He's a YouTuber. Ben Askren is a world-class athlete in every sense of the word. This will not be an upset. Now, I will concede that the fact that Jake Paul's not a boxer, I'm not knocking him for that fact. Because he has gone in the ring and fought people. He has made money out of doing this. He has turned it into a bit of a career. He has kept himself relevant. But he's not a boxer. And I don't think he should be trying to be. I have yet to see him box. And I don't mean that as an insult. It might come across as it, and I don't care if it does, but I've yet to see him box. Go and watch his fights. He hasn't boxed. They're effectively pub car park fights with a referee. They're sloppy. Now, Ben Askren is not the world's most gifted striker by any means. But my God, he's got enough to beat Jake Paul. And if he hasn't, then I don't know what we're doing here. I really don't. So my thoughts on the fight, I don't know how many rounds it is. I don't know if they're wearing, I assume they're not wearing head guards. I don't know how many rounds it is. I don't know where it is. I don't know who sanctioned it. I don't know who the commission is. I don't know who the commentators are. I don't know who the sponsors are. I don't know any of that. What I do know is Ben Askren will not lose to Jake Paul in a boxing match when Jake Paul cannot box. And I might look stupid, but I don't think I will. And I'm not a fan of these types of fights. You know, I will concede there is a huge market for it. You know, it's got me talking about it. It's genuinely got me wanting to tune in and actually watch it. But I don't want to watch it for the reasons that most people want to watch it. I don't like the fact that people will think Jake Paul's really good at boxing. But I guess that's the uneducated person. That would be like me watching a standard person do ballet all right. And me go, I'll tell you what, they're pretty good at that ballet with someone else looking at it going, that was terrible. It's the same thing. But I'm not mad at these. I don't like them. I don't like these types of fights. But I'm not mad at them. I understand they have their place. They do get the mandate of the masses. They do get people talking about them. This one, I prefer this one to, for example, your Logan Paul versus KSI. Two people who genuinely can't fighting each other. That's fine. Either one of them could win. I don't particularly care. This one carries some weight because it's a professional fighter versus a non-professional fighter. So it's a little bit of a different context to it, where you look at perhaps Randy Couture versus James Toney, it had that kind of freak factor where you wanted to watch it. You were kind of like, this is quite interesting. I wonder what will happen. So they do have their place. I'm not mad at them. But I can't be any clearer than this. Jake Paul will not beat Ben Askren. Ben Askren is a world-class competitor in every sense of the word, and Jake Paul is not. Knocking out a basketball player who was trying to hug you the whole time is not impressive. And I'm pretty certain I'm not going to look like an idiot in a couple of weeks' time. What do you think? Do you think I'm on the right track? Or do you think I'm full of it?